So should folks be looking for Listeria monocytogenes in the plant?
Yeah, well, I just said a few seconds ago that what FDA wants to make sure is that you're controlling Salmonella and you're controlling Listeria monocytogenes. They are clearly the two environmental contaminants that the FDA is focused on with their swabathons and is what's going to get us in trouble. It's a very, I think it's a very key question. Many assays that are available are, and many food companies and many labs will stop at Listeria species. They'll take swabs and they will test for Listeria species. My view is that that is perfectly okay for the most part. And like everything else with FSMA and food safety, it's always the ultimate answer is, well, it depends. And, you know, if I was going to be truly facetious and obnoxious, I think the answer to my question on this one, Jill, would have been, well, it depends, and let everybody figure it out. But let's try to be helpful. Let's talk about what it depends on. Let's assume we've got a scenario where you've got your routine environmental monitoring program, you're finding Listeria species, and you react to it appropriately. So you vector, you clean and sanitize, you make sure product is protected. If necessary, you do a root cause analysis, you document it all, and you retest. And it's like, yep, we're good, we've cleaned it up. You know, the next 2, 4, 6 tests are all negative, and it remains negative. That's fine. Different scenario where we start to see an increased frequency of Listeria in our plant. We might be getting 1 positive a month. All of a sudden, we're starting to see 3 and 4 positives a month in different places. This is where it starts to get gray, because you're going to have to ask yourself, is this a resident strain? Do I have something that's changed in my environmental process control, in my manufacturing systems, in the equipment? Have I got a harborage problem? And if you do, you're going to need to really determine whether that's the case and take the appropriate action. If the FDA comes in, which they can do, and look at your records as part of a routine inspection for environmental monitoring, and they say, well, you know, you've been chugging along at 1 positive in zone 3 a month. Good job, you're finding it, you're remediating it, that's exactly what you want to do. But in the last 6 months, you've had 5 and 6 positives. What's going on? What's changed? I don't think the FDA is expecting you to have looked for Listeria monocytogenes necessarily, but you need to be absolutely sure that that's not what's causing the problem. And that gets to the case by case where you may say, well, we really want to know if this is LM, because this then gets into the, I think, the challenge between where food safety and quality assurance sometimes has to have some tough conversations with operations. And you may need to go to operations and say, look, we've had this increased level. We've shown that it's a Listeria monocytogenes, which obviously can cause illness. It's what the FDA is focused on. It could trigger a recall. And we need to shut this line down for 2 days and do a complete tear apart, clean up, and solve the problem. So there isn't a black and white yes-no answer to should you be looking for Listeria mono. To recap, my view is Listeria species works really well, and it's a great way to go, but every now and again, if you start to see changes and you start to see things popping up that you are concerned about as a food safety professional, ask yourself, do I need to know if this is L mono, because I may need to take a more significant action in my plant to solve the problem. So hopefully that's provided a little insight. You know, without being overtly pushing tags services, these are the kinds of situations where we're very willing and happy to engage with a food company and help you figure it out, because there really isn't a right and wrong answer. And as I said a few minutes ago, we want to stay on the right side of our risks. We don't want to recall, we don't want to damage our reputation, and we absolutely want to make sure that we're following the FSMA requirements. So, good question, but without a really clear answer. But it's hopefully that that discussion has provided a bit of insight.